Excuse me, young lady. That's my chair. It's my chair. Can I have it back, please? Welcome back, casual gardeners. As a brand new chicken daddy, I've spent a lot of time second guessing myself and wondering, am I doing right by my girls? I've been especially concerned about providing just the right environment for them so they can have happy, stress-free lives as much as is possible for a chicken. It turns out there are a lot of ways to stress a chicken. We're going to talk about some of those in this video. So the number one stressor that I've already been concerned about is heat. We should all expect that occasionally heat's going to be an issue, no matter what climate we're keeping chickens in. So we're not a failure if they get a little hot. Let's talk about what it looks like when your chickens are experiencing heat stress. Mild heat stress is going to be caused by temperatures in excess of 85 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 24 hours. And honestly, I'm going to feel that too. That's mildly stressful for me. You're going to notice them panting. You're going to notice that they'll spend more time with their legs and their wings kind of stretched out. You'll notice that they drink more water. Moderate heat stress is going to be caused by temperatures in excess of 90 degrees Fahrenheit for more than 24 hours. So you're going to see even more holding their wings away from their bodies just to allow more air movement close to their bodies. They're going to keep on panting. They're going to keep on looking for shade. They're going to keep on drinking a lot of water. And then we get to severe heat stress, and that is temperatures in excess of 95 degrees Fahrenheit with high humidity. When temperatures get that high, we're going to see a reddening of their combs and wattles as blood circulation increases through that tissue to try to help take away more heat from their bodies. And if they have extended severe heat stress, we're going to see that our chickens will stop laying eggs because their bodies are in physiological distress and they just can't even. So there are ways that we can help create an environment that helps our chickens deal with the heat. You want to provide plentiful, clean, fresh water for your chickens so that when they need an extra drink, it's there for them. Provide your food for your chickens during the cooler parts of the day. When chickens digest their food, they actually generate extra body heat. Make sure you're providing shade elements in their run area. If they're like really hot and you're really worried about them, you can freeze some water bottles and put an old towel over them, and they'll sit right on the water bottles and it'll help them cool off. You can provide a shallow wading pool. Make sure that the water is 2 inches deep or less because chickens are not aquatic fowl. They don't swim, so don't make them swim, but they can stand in some water and lose some heat through their feet. Make sure that wherever you're keeping your chickens, there's plenty of air circulation. And if you have them in an enclosed space, you're going to want to turn on some fans. And then perhaps most importantly, you want to choose breeds that are appropriate for your environment. These little Easter eggers, for example, aren't going to deal super well with super high heat because they have very small combs, so they can't put their blood out in that to give off excess heat. It's just not going to work for them. Sorry, chickens are distracting. Now, another potential source of stress for our chickens is predator stress or loud noises, with the most severe predator stress, of course, being a direct predator attack. So if your chickens see a predator, a potential predator, or hear transient loud noises, those are going to cause some mild stress because it's a really loud noise. So you're going to see your chickens running away from certain areas, maybe trying to hide. I love how all of my girls will just run into the coop. It's pretty sweet. And they're going to be a little bit more flighty for a little while. But because this is transient stress, they'll calm down and it's not going to be super unhealthy for them because it's over pretty quick. Moderate stress is going to be caused if they see predators pretty frequently. For example, I have a stray cat, but he loves to hang out around my chickens, which is why I can't let him free range and I had to build this extended run because it's a sweet cat, but dude's a predator. Or maybe you get a lot of hawks overhead, or maybe you've got like a construction project in your neighborhood and it's creating moderate noise levels pretty much all the time. and your chickens don't get the peace they need. But you're also going to see maybe an uptick in distress calls, and maybe your mild symptoms are going to be a little bit more severe. They're going to be hiding more. They're going to be more flighty. And then let's talk about severe stress. And that would be an actual predator attack, or the 4th of July. Fireworks are incredibly stressful for animals. I hope we find something that's a little bit less stressful for animals and veterans to celebrate our nation's freedom with. So you're going to see all your moderate symptoms. You're going to see some feather loss over time. They might start refusing to eat. They may stop laying eggs, and you may see your birds start to lose weight. So severe stress situations are going to be incredibly detrimental to the health of your chickens and should be, I think, avoided. Hunger and thirst can be stressful. I think we can all agree about that. And we'll see changes in behavior if our chickens are experiencing stress from hunger or thirst. So if they're mildly stressed, that's going to be a brief delay in getting their food or water. I know my chickens are up and awake before the automated coop door opens, and they're ready for their food and water, but they can't get to it yet because I keep it in the run. So when they get out of the coop, they'll show mild food stress symptoms. They run to their food and water. Occasionally we'll see chickens start to eat non-food items because they're hungry, they're ready to eat, they're gonna eat something. If our chickens are experiencing more severe food and water related stress, they're very hungry, they're very thirsty, they are going to start eating more non-food items, and they're gonna become flighty and nervous a lot more. And then of course, if you really neglect your chickens, and I know you're not going to do this, they're going to start losing weight, they're going to stop laying eggs, and eventually they're going to get very, very terminally ill. Infections and injuries can also be stressors for your chickens. A low-grade infection or a parasite can result in diarrhea. You might see a chicken self-isolate, which is probably for the best because ideally you want to quarantine your sick chickens anyway. So if you see a chicken self-isolating, help her out and maybe isolate her a little bit more until she's feeling better. You're going to see some wing dropping, and she might do a little panting. Now, if a chicken is severely ill or injured, including if she's egg-bound, things are going to get a little bit worse. You're going to see all of the milder symptoms, plus she may become lethargic. You might see reduced movement or limping around, and she may stop laying eggs. And that's probably especially true, obviously, if she's egg bound. I'm actually not comfortable giving chicken healthcare advice on my channel, not just because I've only had chickens and been a chicken daddy for a few weeks, but also because I think that's something that's just not appropriate. I don't know your chickens. I don't know their symptoms. That's an area for you to do some research or see a veterinarian about. Now we can also see social stress in our birds. That could be probably more, hopefully more frequent than these other stressors because chickens are incredibly gregarious birds. They should have some degree of social interaction no matter what. And I think we can all agree that even when we're socializing with our favorite people, it can get a little stressful sometimes. One big area of social stress that a lot of chicken keepers are going to see, I have no personal experience with this because the girls have been together since the day they hatched, is introducing new birds to your flock. So you might see your established chickens avoiding or running away from the new birds, or your new birds avoiding or running away from your established chickens. You're going to see more fighting within your flock to reestablish the pecking order. So they're going to do things like, I think it's adorable when they chest bump each other. You might see chickens doing behavior called resource guarding. So they'll guard the food, or they'll guard the water, or they'll guard their favorite spot to hang out. And all of your chickens are going to be a little bit more flighty and skittish than usual because new things are happening, and new things can be dangerous, and chickens are incredibly danger averse animals. You can also see stresses from overcrowding your chickens. So if your chickens are overcrowded, you're going to see reduced egg laying. Your chickens are going to be more likely to pick at each other and fight because they can't get out of each other's way, and they just need a break. Because they're in close quarters, they're going to see a reduction in hygiene, which means your birds are going to be more likely to become sick. And I think social stress is going to reduce their immune system's capability to fight off those illnesses as well. You may see a phenomenon called piling up. Piling up is just that behavior where your chickens all gather together. And chickens are always going to do that. But if your chickens are crowded, piling up can reduce in injuries or even deaths because your chickens are going to wind up actually on top of each other. And it's not great for them. Huh. Huh. No, it's not great. You're getting heavy. You are getting heavy. So pecking at each other, mild fighting, and other aggressive behaviors are natural in a flock of chickens, but overcrowding can emphasize those to unhealthy levels and create really unhealthy situations for our chickens. Now, a final social stress is you might have a bad ratio of roosters to chickens if you have roosters. So for every one rooster, you want to have about 10 chickens. You don't need roosters to get eggs. The eggs are going to happen whether a rooster is present or not. All a rooster does is fertilize those eggs so you can get the cute little fluffy chicks out of them. I love cats. I have 3 cats who I love very much. One thing we do not do is allow our cats outside. And the reason we don't do that is because it's dangerous outside for the cats. And also the cats are dangerous outside for everything else. I had to spend hundreds of extra dollars to keep chickens because my neighbors don't agree with me about cats. So if you think that letting your cat out isn't going to hurt anything or anybody and isn't going to inconvenience your neighbors, you're just wrong. I love cats. And because I love cats, I'm going to ask you, please keep your cats inside. Because I also love birds and squirrels, and I love my chickens, and I love my poop-free garden beds. And your cats, they're ruining all of those things. Thank you so much for joining me here in my chicken coop today. Hope you have a wonderful time in your garden.